Hello. Yeah, I'm here to talk about the multi-cloud future and cloud agnosticism. Briefly, who am I? I'm the Chief Technology Officer for KMD. If you're Danish, you might have some idea who we are. We're actually running the election that's happening today. Been around for 50 years. And we do a lot of work in digital government, energy utility, digital finance. And we were the first mover of digital solutions in the public sector in Denmark to the cloud. Before KMD, I spent almost 10 years also at a company called Unity. That's actually what brought me to Denmark in the gaming industry, where I had responsibility for designing and developing and building up the development and delivery pipeline for the organization as it grew. So I've seen a number of things. And one of the things that I've kind of learned with all of my experiences is that when you're running a business, a product that has some longevity, you need to consider about the risk to your product and to your business and to your customers. We live in a world where things are changing all the time. So for me, one of the things that's close to my heart is the multi-cloud future, as I call it. And I say the multi-cloud future, but it's something that many people often are thinking, I don't believe in the multi-cloud future, but in my mind, that's like saying you don't believe in gravity. It exists. There are many different cloud options. And I think what the multi-cloud future really means is that we will get better and better at understanding how to work within them and between them. There are a number of reasons why I believe in embracing this. Again, short talk, so I picked two that I think are relevant to many of us. One, regulations. So data privacy legislation is a big one. And this one I think is especially important because I've seen from the companies here, many of you coming from industries, digital finance, pharmaceuticals, medical equipment manufacturing. These are all very highly regulated industries. So whether you're talking about data privacy legislation, we all know about GDPR. It's also kickstarted similar legislation around the world. But beyond that, if you work in digital banking, European banking regulations, you need to be able to show what is an exit strategy from your current vendor, for example. This is not something you can ignore. And it's also something that's constantly evolving. We had GDPR come into play, then we had Schrems 2. Now we have a new framework. We're waiting waiting for the European Commission now to make a new equivalency decision. We don't know what will happen when that one goes to court, for example. So regulations in general are a huge, huge factor when you think bigger picture and longer term. And then the other big reason that I decided to talk about was that cloud's been around for a while. We understand also that not all workloads are created equal. So to give a very concrete example that's also a bit trendy, I think about AI, machine learning. The reality is that it can be very nice to operate an AI-based solution in public cloud with all the bells and whistles, but it can be prohibitively expensive to train an AI model. However, we live in a multi-cloud world. You can train your model on bare metal for a much cheaper price, and you can operate your production solution in public cloud. It's 2022. You can have your cake and eat it too. It just requires a bit of planning. So the key takeaway here is, if you want to think about how to future-proof your business and your product, and you're developing something that you expect to have some longevity, think about cloud agnosticism. Now, I might have a strong opinion about this, but I also didn't just fall off the truck yesterday, right? So pure, true cloud agnosticism, where there's no cost to move between one vendor to another, doesn't exist. However, it means constantly thinking and evaluating with every choice that you make, your architectural decisions, your design. What would my exit strategy be? What kind of flexibility does this bring or take away from my overall solution here? Don't prematurely optimize, but just think, Okay, could maybe inserting a facade here make this a little bit easier if I need to switch databases in the future, for example? It's not black or white, it's not all or nothing. There can be very good reasons for leaning into something that's very, very tied to a specific vendor, but do it with eyes wide open and think about the implications for your organization and your product and your customers in the future. Thank you.